like he was certain to win, but just as he was coming to the finish line, the temptation to look back, it just overcame him. And as he looked back, his stride stumbled, and he got past Bannister, passed him right at the tape and won. And here's what Landy said afterwards. He said, I would have won the race if I hadn't looked back, if I hadn't taken my eyes off the goal. And he's not the only one who's done this. Take a look at this clip.
Take my word for it, there's a moral to this story.
Yeah, it looked like a coronation for Tom Giampepio. He's getting the crowd. He wants the crowd to cheer his performance, and at the end he gets pipped. He gets pipped by Merritt Simon of Washington. And you just can't do this kind of stuff, Lewis.
You can't. If you see his face, and you know, no one has to say anything. They don't have to explain it to him. He'll never make that mistake again.
I believe it. I don't think he'll ever make that mistake again. In sports, in business, in marriage, in school, at work, we have to stay focused on the goal. We need to keep our eyes on the prize. And the same thing is true when it comes to living this life with the kind of energy and excitement and adventure and peace and joy that God intends for us to have. We have to keep our eye on the prize. Well, what's the prize? Well, in today's scripture, Jesus lays that out very clearly. We're going to be in John chapter 14. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. It's the fourth book with red letters. John chapter 14, beginning in verse 1, Jesus is speaking here. And he says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. See, the prize, literally the prize, the literal, tangible that we can grab hold of, the literal prize of life, right here in my Father's house, are many rooms. And I'm going there to prepare a place for you. And I'm going to come back and take you to be with me where I am. 1 Corinthians 15, 51 to 54 says it this way. Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep. That's speaking of death, okay, the sleep of believers. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. For the perishable must clothe itself with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality. When the perishable has been clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory. See, that's the promised land for us. It's a literal promised land. It's a new heaven. It's a new earth. Now, some of us are pretty excited about the earth we have now. There's a lot of things about this world. Even now, it's been in decay for 6,000 years. And it's been eroding and corroding, okay, and being corrupted all this time. Yet there's still some glimpses, okay, of the majesty of God that we can see. And living in Alaska, we can see it on our doorstep. That's some pretty good things. But let me tell you, it's nothing compared to what we're going to have. Not just a new heaven, but a new earth. And it already has been given. It already belongs to you if you're a follower of Christ. It's yours. You've not yet taken possession of it, but it belongs to you. Now, it's true that there is a problem. In this life, there is a problem. But get this, the problem is not your house payments. The problem is not your health. The problem is not your job. The problem is not your husband. The problem is not your wife. The problem is not your parents. The problem is not the government. It's far more serious. You see, the problem is this, that one day, Jesus is going to gather every person who has ever lived, from Adam and Eve in the garden forward, every person he's going to gather before him. and he's going to separate the people into two groups. And on his right, he's going to put those who follow him and belong to him. And on his left, he's going to put those people who live their own life, who just went their own way in life, and we're not interested in him. And in Matthew 25:41, Jesus said of himself, then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. See, there is a problem. The problem is not your bills. It's not your spouse, not your job, not your income. The problem is that there is a day of reckoning coming, and we need to make sure that we're ready for that. Because while it is true that there's a major problem that must be overcome, it's also true that the solution is not found in focusing on the problem. That's not where it is. It's not to focus on the obstacles. It's not to focus on the crowd. It's not even to focus on the tools for living that we have. That's not the solution. It's not to focus on those things. You have to keep your eye on the prize. Think again back to baseball. If you keep your eye on the bat, you're never going to be a hitter. If you keep your eye on the pitcher, you're never going to be a hitter. If you keep your eye on the defense, you're never going to be a hitter. If you keep your eye on the crowd, you're never going to be a hitter. The one thing that is true of every successful hitter in the history of the game is that they all, without exception, keep their eye on the ball. Well, what does that have to do with winning the battle of life? Well, the bat is a tool, right? And the pitcher is the problem. And the defense is the obstacles. And the crowd is the distractions. And in life, if you and I focus constantly on the tools or the problems or the obstacles or the distractions, we're never going to focus on the solution. You know, for a batter, the ultimate problem is that he needs to get on base if his team is going to win, right? And the problem is he's not on base. And the solution is only going to be found if he keeps his eye on the ball, if he keeps his eye on the prize. Now, nearly 1,500 years before Christ, the Israelites also had a problem. They were trapped in slavery in a land that was not their own, in Egypt. And God performed many miracles. He led them out. He even parted the Red Sea so that they could walk across to escape their pursuers. And He brought them to the place that He was going to have them enter in and give to them. And this is what He said in Numbers 13:1 and 2. The Lord said to Moses, who was leading the people, send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders. See, so there it is. God said, this land in front of you, it's all yours. And then He said, but rather than millions of you, because there were millions, just kind of swarming in there, okay, and being everything, you know, a mess and disarray, and you don't know where you're going, instead of that, send a leader, one from each of the 12 tribes, and get the lay of the land. See, it makes sense, doesn't it? He said, listen, make some plans. Decide where each large tribe is going to settle. That way you can move in, you work smarter, not harder. That was the whole deal. And so in verse 21, Numbers 13, so they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehob toward Lebo Hamath. So far so good. Okay, this is the advanced party. Now you know where the roads are. Now you know where there's fresh water. Now you know where you can graze your animals. You understand distances. You can figure out good places to camp for the night. How much food you need to bring for the journey. All of that is good, right? And then beginning in verse